I've never been the kind of person who scares easily. I've lived alone since I was 23, worked night shifts, traveled solo, and handled more than my fair share of late night noises and flickering lights without a second thought. But this wasn't something I could explain away. This wasn't a creaky pipe or a raccoon on the roof. This was different. And I've never told anyone the full story until now because honestly, it still chills me to my core. It happened 3 years ago in a house I was renting just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. A quiet area tucked up against a dense line of woods. The kind of place you move to when you want peace and privacy. I'd just broken up with my fiance, so I was craving both. The house was older built in the 70s, with creaky floors and thin windows that let in every sound from the forest behind it. But it was cheap, and it felt like the kind of place where I could heal, or at least disappear for a while. The first few weeks were uneventful. I worked from home doing freelance editing, so I spent most of my nights up late, hunched over my laptop with a cup of tea. The windows opened to the cool mountain air. That's probably what made me notice it sooner, the silence. The kind that's too perfect, like the woods were holding their breath. It started small, just noises at first. A soft shuffle outside my bedroom window around 1 or 2 a.m. The first time, I figured it was a deer or maybe a possum. But then it came again and again. Every night, at almost the same time, a rhythmic crunch of leaves, soft footsteps, always starting in the woods and ending just beneath my window. But whenever I looked, there was nothing, just trees and shadows. I even set up a motion sensor light, thinking it would scare off whatever it was. But it never turned on. The thing, whatever it was, never triggered it. That was the first time I felt that cold dread seep into my bones. Because either the sensor was broken or something was smart enough to avoid it. The air started to feel different after that, heavier, like the house itself knew something I didn't. My cat, Mina, who had always been bold and curious, started hiding under the bed around midnight and wouldn't come out until morning. One night, I heard a knock, not on the door, on the window. Soft, precise, 3 slow taps. I froze. Every instinct in my body told me not to look, but I did. I pulled back the curtain, heart hammering, eyes wide. Nothing. Just the dark and the reflection of my own terrified face. But the knocks kept coming every night at exactly 12:17 a.m. I remember that time because I started watching the clock, waiting for it. The anticipation was worse than the sound itself. Sometimes I'd hear breathing low, ragged, just beyond the glass. Sometimes laughter, not loud, not playful. Just a single exhale, like someone was amused by how scared I was. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. I became a shell of myself, paranoid and jumpy, every sense on high alert. I told my landlord, who just chuckled and said I was probably hearing foxes. He didn't believe me. No one did. And I started to wonder if I was losing my mind until the night I saw it. It was a Thursday, cloudy, cold. I'd barricaded my bedroom door and kept a flashlight under my pillow. I hadn't opened the curtains in days, but something, I don't know what made me look. I crept to the window, barely breathing, and lifted just one corner of the curtain. That's when I saw him, a man, or what looked like a man. Tall, gaunt, skin so pale it almost glowed in the moonlight. He was standing just at the tree line, facing the house, not moving. Not blinking, just dot watching. I ducked. My body acted before my brain could. I scrambled back, hand over my mouth, trying not to make a sound. My heart was thundering. My ears were ringing. I stayed like that for what felt like hours. When I looked again, he was gone. But that was only the beginning. After that night, things escalated. I started finding things on my porch in the morning. A dead bird, a smooth stone, perfectly round, a single black feather, always laid out neatly. deliberately, like gifts or warnings. The air inside the house began to smell off like old soil and rot. I tried burning sage, leaving the lights on, even playing music to fill the silence. Nothing helped. In fact, it made things worse. One night, as I sat curled up in the corner of my bedroom, flashlight clutched in one hand and my cat trembling in the other, I heard the front door handle rattle, not gently, like someone was trying to break in. I called the police. They came 20 minutes later, searched the property, found nothing, no prints, no signs of forced entry, just a series of deep gouges in the wood around the door. Like fingernails, human, but too long. The officer looked pale. He told me to keep my doors locked and left without saying much else. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in the hallway with a knife in my lap, the flashlight pointed at the front door. But the real horror didn't come until a week later, when I woke up not in my bed, but outside. In the woods, barefoot, freezing. A single candle burning beside me, though I don't remember lighting it. My hands were dirty, my nightgown torn. I ran home in a panic, locked every door, and checked every inch of myself for injuries. I found none, but something had changed in me. I could feel it, like I wasn't alone in my own head. Like something had come back with me. That night, I dreamed of him, standing over me as I slept, smiling, his mouth too wide, his teeth too sharp. And when I woke up, there were muddy footprints leading from my bedroom door to my bed. After that, I stopped trying to fight it. I just waited for him to come inside. It was only a matter of time, and he did. One night, I woke to silence. Not the comforting kind, but the oppressive kind. Like all the sound had been sucked out of the world. My cat was gone. My flashlight was dead, and the air was thick, so thick I could barely breathe. I turned toward the door, and there he was, standing in the doorway, smiling, his eyes black, bottomless. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I don't even remember what happened next. I woke up the next morning in bed, alone, but everything in the house was wrong. My furniture was rearranged. My phone was missing. And there were scratches, deep, angry scratches on the inside of my closet door. I left that day, packed what I could, and never looked back. I've moved 6 times since then, changed my number. Never stay in one place too long. But it doesn't matter, because wherever I go, at exactly 12:17 a.m., I hear it. 3 soft knocks, always at the window, always followed by silence. I've tried everything to get rid of him, priests, psychics, therapists. None of it helps. He's not a ghost. He's not a man. He's something else, something ancient, something hungry, and he chose me. I don't know why. I don't know what he wants, but I know one thing: he's patient. And one night, he'll come inside again. Only this time, I don't think I'll wake up. After I fled that house, I told myself that was the end of it. That maybe he was bound to the land, the forest, the house itself. That by leaving, I'd left him behind. For a few days, I almost believed it. The nights were still. I slept without waking, without dread clawing at my insides. I remember laughing at myself, telling a friend over coffee that maybe I just had a breakdown. That stress and isolation had made me imagine things. She nodded and told me it happens all the time. That the mind plays tricks, that trauma creates shadows where none exist. I wanted so badly to believe that, until the 7th night. It was always the 7th night. I was in a 2nd floor apartment by then, several miles away from the woods, no trees nearby, just concrete, cars, and city lights. I went to bed early, determined to reclaim a sense of control over my life. I checked every lock, closed every curtain, turned on my white noise machine, no more silence. And yet, despite all my precautions, I awoke at exactly 12:17 a.m., wide awake, alert, and staring directly at the window across the room. My whole body seized up, I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, but I felt it, that same presence, that same weight in the air. It was like he'd reached into my chest and wrapped his fingers around my heart. I forced myself to get up, to cross the room slowly, to open the curtain and prove to myself I was imagining it. But I wasn't. There were 3 marks on the glass, long vertical smudges, as if something had dragged its fingers down the window from the outside. From 2 stories up, I moved again. That became my ritual. Every time he found me, I'd pack everything and run. Sometimes I had weeks, sometimes only days, but he always came. The knocks always started at 12:17. I tried ignoring them, tried pretending I couldn't hear, but that only made him bolder. The longer I resisted, the closer he got. After the knocks came whispers, then dreams, then touches. Light at first, a breath on my neck, a cold fingertip along my spine. But one night I woke up to find bruises on my wrists, as if someone had held me down. I stopped sleeping after that. Sleep became an invitation. I started seeing him in reflections, in mirrors, in windows, in puddles on the street, always at a distance, always smiling, that same too-wide grin. I began researching, desperate for answers. I thought maybe I could identify what he was, some demon, spirit, cryptid. But there was nothing that matched, nothing that felt exactly right. And then late one night, I found a forum, a thread titled, "He Knocks at 12:17. It was buried deep in the web, barely active. But the stories, they were just like mine. People from all over, different countries, different backgrounds, all reporting the same thing. The knocks, the pale man, the feeling of being watched, followed, hunted. One woman from Sweden said she'd lost her husband to him, that he'd answered the knock, opened the window, and vanished. Another man claimed he'd burned down his own house, thinking it would kill the thing. But the next night, the knocking came at the hotel window. I reached out to a few of them. Only one responded, a woman named Clara from Vermont. She told me to listen carefully. You can't fight him. You can't outrun him, but you can delay him. Never acknowledge him, never speak to him. Never ever open anything, door, window, even your eyes when you hear him come. Pretend you're asleep. Pray that he believes it. I followed her advice religiously. For a while it worked. The knocks kept coming, but I didn't answer, and he stayed outside. But 2 months ago, I slipped up. I was in a new place, far from anyone I knew. A cabin in Maine this time. I thought maybe the cold, the isolation would keep him away. But on the 12th night, I heard the knock soft, steady, and then a voice. He'd never spoken before. It was barely a whisper, but it was right by my ear. He said, "Let me in." I bolted upright, heart exploding in my chest. The room was empty, dark, but the window was open. I never open windows, never, and the curtains were blowing gently in the night breeze. I leapt out of bed and slammed it shut, locked it 3 times over. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. When morning came, I found something sitting on the windowsill. A ring, rusted, twisted, old, but somehow familiar. I stared at it for a long time before realizing it was my grandmother's, the one she'd been buried with. That's when I knew. He was getting stronger. He was no longer bound by doors and walls. He could reach through places I thought were safe, through memories, through dreams. I started hearing him during the day, seeing things in mirrors that weren't mine. My reflection lingering just a second too long, shadows moving in the corners of my vision. The animals in the woods started behaving strangely, birds flying in circles, deer approaching my windows and just staring. Once, I found a line of ants forming symbols across my kitchen counter. I took photos, but when I looked later, there was nothing there, just a clean counter. My phone started glitching, static during calls, photos deleting themselves. the time freezing at 12:17 every time I glanced at a clock. I went back to the forum, but it was gone, the whole site gone. As if it had never existed, I tried calling Clara. Her number was disconnected. Her email bounced back. I searched her name online, and the only thing I found was a missing persons report dated 2 weeks after she last messaged me. I've stopped running now. There's no point. He finds me wherever I go. I think he likes the chase, likes wearing me down. And I'm tired. So tired. I haven't truly slept in days. My mind is unraveling. The lines between dreams and waking are gone. I see him constantly now, in the hallway, at the end of my bed, in the mirror behind me as I brush my teeth. He doesn't hide anymore, and every night, the knocks get louder, more urgent, more desperate, or maybe that's me. Maybe I'm the one who's desperate because a part of me wants to let him in, wants it to be over. I think that's how he wins. He doesn't kill you, not in the traditional sense. He waits. He wears you down. He feeds off your fear, your paranoia, your isolation, until there's nothing left of you, until the only thing you have left is him. That's why I'm telling this story. While I still can, while there's still something human left in me, maybe if I speak it aloud, it will lose some of its power. Maybe someone else will hear this and recognize the signs. Maybe you'll know what to do, because I don't. I've tried everything. And tonight, as I sit here recording this, I know he's close. I can feel it. The air is thick. My cat hasn't come out from under the couch all day. The clocks are dead. My reflection is smiling at me, even though I'm not. And it's 12:16. So please, if you ever hear 3 soft knocks at your window in the middle of the night, whatever you do, don't look.